All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? This time we're cracking open Chapter 5 of the Magnificent Seven campaign. Buckle up, because things get pretty wild.
Oh, yeah, definitely wild.
We're talking homunculi, necromancers, and some seriously tough choices for our heroes.
You know, what really struck me about this chapter is how it throws the Magnificent Seven into these situations with no easy answers.
Right.
Like, it's not just about fighting monsters anymore. It's about moral dilemmas, consequences. Really makes you think.
Absolutely. Remember all those hints we got about Courtland, and his connection to Cillian Lauren? Well, Chapter 5 drops a major bombshell.
Oh, yeah, the big reveal.
Courtland, our mysterious rogue, turns out he's a homunculus.
A homunculus? Whoa.
And not just any homunculus. He's been around for like 90 years but hasn't aged a day.
Yeah, that's a pretty unique situation, even for a D&D world. You know, for those who might not be familiar with the lore, a homunculus is basically an artificial being created through magic, sort of like a magical construct brought to life for a specific purpose.
Like a living tool, almost.
Kind of, yeah. But what makes Courtland's case so interesting is the whole mystery surrounding his creation.
Totally. He wakes up in this cave, finds his creator dead.
And the creator is a wizard who looks exactly like him. Talk about creepy.
Oh, super creepy. And then, to make matters even weirder, Cillian Lauren just shows up.
Like, poof.
Yeah, pretty much. Out of thin air.
I mean, just imagine that. You wake up, your creator's dead, and then this potentially sinister figure just appears.
I'll be freaking out. What do you think, listener? Would you trust Cillian? Because Courtland definitely doesn't. He describes the Edifed, the place where he grew up, as this brutal, lawless frontier. Survival of the fittest, trust no one.
Right, like a classic Western movie almost, where you gotta be tough and keep your cards close to your chest.
Exactly. Which kind of explains why Courtland is so, well, so guarded.
Yeah, the NFED really shaped him. It's more than just a setting. It's like it explains his whole personality.
Definitely. And speaking of tough places, let's talk about Bone Sleeper. Remember how Oliver tried to liberate it years ago?
Oh, yeah, that didn't go so well, did it?
Nope. And now it's under the control of a necromancer.
A necromancer, lovely.
The party finds skeleton guards, the village is falling apart, and then they witness this horrifying nighttime ritual.
Okay, now that's just messed up. What kind of ritual are we talking about here?
So imagine this, right? The villagers are partying, like having a feast.
A feast with a necromancer in charge. That's a bit odd.
I know. But then the necromancer who's leading the whole thing, he performs this sacrifice. And it ends with him consuming a young woman's heart.
Whoa, okay. That's definitely taking the necromancer thing to a whole new level of creepy.
Right. And it really shows the dark side of necromancy, this disturbing control over life and death.
Yeah, not exactly a party I'd want to attend.
Definitely not. And it sparks this huge debate within the party. Oliver and Cal, they're all about charging in, classic hero move.
Of course, gotta save the day.
But then you have Egni and Talia, they're way more cautious.
Smart. I mean, who knows what kind of power this necromancer has?
Exactly. And the big thing's even more complicated. Egni casts augury. She asks her patron, basically, hey, if we try to help these villagers, will they even help us back? And the answer she gets, whoa.
Uh-oh. Whoa's never good.
Nope, not good at all. For those who might not know, augury is like this divination spell. You try to get a glimpse of the future. And whoa is basically the universe saying, run away. Bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. It's like the DM throwing up a giant red flag. It's like, as a listener, you just want to shout, don't do it.
Totally. But of course, they don't hear us. And to make things even crazier, right, as they're trying to figure things out, a second necromancer shows up.
Wait, a second necromancer? What's going on here?
With a zombie army, no less.
Oh, come on. A zombie army. That's just overkill.
And get this, they're riding this bone elephant scorpion hybrid thing. I'm not even kidding.
A what? A bone elephant scorpion. That's both terrifying and hilarious. Like, how do you even come up with something like that?
Right. It's pure D&D craziness. And then the best part, the two necromancers start trash-talking each other.
Oh, no way. Like, what? Necromancer smack talk?
Yeah, like a magical rap battle or something. One's like, your robes are last season, and the other one's all, my bone constructs are way more aesthetically pleasing.
Okay, that is hilarious. But also, like, these guys are powerful magic users, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It just adds this whole layer of absurdity to the situation.
It makes you wonder, though, are they just rivals with, like, massive egos? Or is there something more strategic going on?
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe a power struggle within the necromancer community.
Could be. Could be.
Okay, so picture this, right? You got two necromancers throwing down a village that's in desperate need of help, and the Magnificent Seven are caught right in the middle. What do you think, listener? I know what I'd be feeling, totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, no kidding. It's pure chaos at this point, and they've got this huge decision to make, all while that woe prophecy from the augury spell is hanging over their heads.
The pressure's on. Do they risk it all and try to intervene or play it safe?
Well, that's the dilemma, isn't it? Part of you wants to see them charge in, be the heroes, but then again, their mission is to confront Cillian Lorne, right?
Exactly. They've got a bigger goal in mind. Plus, who knows what they're really walking into. Remember what Courtland said about the Edifed? It's a rough place. Maybe trusting your gut and being cautious is the smarter move, even if it feels wrong.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about Courtland. His background definitely adds another layer to all of this.
Right?
I mean, could his upbringing in the Edifed, where survival often meant being ruthless, make him more inclined towards caution? Or maybe, remembering the harsh realities of that lawless frontier, he'll actually push the group towards action.
Whoa, I hadn't thought about it like that.
It's an interesting dynamic for sure. And think about it, Bone Sleeper might just be a small taste of what awaits them in Tristwitch, Cillian Lorne's stronghold.
Oh man, that's a scary thought. If one village is under the control of a necromancer, imagine an entire city.
Yeah, and don't forget about those giant bats the party saw flying towards the Empire of the Talon.
Oh yeah, those things, I'd almost forgotten about them.
Could those be connected to Cillian Lorne somehow? Maybe he's building alliances, gathering information, or even preparing for an attack on a larger scale.
Wow, I hadn't even considered that. What do you think that means for the Magnificent Seven's mission, listener? Are they just pawns in a much larger game?
It's definitely a possibility, and if Cillian's making moves like that, it adds a whole new level of urgency to their mission.
Right, like they might be on a ticking clock, needing to stop him before he gains even more power. Things just keep getting more intense. But in the midst of all this chaos, amidst the necromancer smack talk and zombie armies, they actually make one really important decision.
Oh, what's that?
They choose a leader.
A leader. Interesting. Who they pick?
And the vote goes to D-Max, the monk.
D-Max, huh? That's an interesting choice.
Right, you've got this group of individuals, all with their own strengths and, well, let's be honest, their own quirks. And they choose a monk, someone known for discipline, balance, inner peace.
Yeah, it makes sense in a way. Like they instinctively knew they needed someone to kind of bring them together, be the calm in the storm.
Yeah, totally. It shows a level of self-awareness, like they recognize they need more than just individual skill to face what's coming.
They're becoming a real team.
Exactly. So they're approaching Tristwitch with D-Max at the helm, but they're carrying the weight of all these moral dilemmas, these hints of a larger threat, and of course the total uncertainty of what awaits them in Cillian Lorne's city. It's like they're standing at the edge of a precipice, about to take a leap of fail.
Yeah, and we're right there with them, holding our breath, wondering what's going to happen next. And what about Courtland? I mean, do you think he'll be a reliable guide, given his past in the Edifed and his connection to Cillian?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? His backstory adds so much to the mix. Will his loyalty to his creator resurface, or will he prioritize the Magnificent Seven's safety, recognizing the danger Cillian poses?
It's like he's a wild card, adding this whole other layer of tension to everything. We just don't know what he'll do or what secrets he might be hiding.
Exactly. It's brilliant storytelling. And speaking of secrets, we still have that whole bone elephant scorpion hybrid situation to unpack. All right, let's talk about that bone elephant scorpion thing. I mean, come on. It's not every day you see a necromancer riding around on something like that.
I know, right? It's so out there, so bizarre, but it just, I don't know, it fits. It just works in this crazy world of D&D.
It really does. Speaks to the DM's creativity, that ability to blend horror and fantasy with, well, with unexpected, sometimes hilarious stuff.
Yeah, totally. It makes you wonder what other weird creatures might be lurking out there in the Edifed.
Oh, for sure. But beyond just the sheer absurdity of it, the arrival of that second necromancer really throws a wrench in the Magnificent Seven's plans.
Oh yeah, big time. Suddenly, the situation at Bone Sleeper is a whole lot more complicated.
Right. They were already wrestling with that woe prophecy, trying to figure out if they should intervene. Now you've got two necromancers, maybe fighting for power. Who knows what else is going on?
It's like the DM threw a grenade into their carefully laid plans.
Exactly. And it really tests their ability to adapt, to think on their feet. What would you do in that situation, listener? Would you try to take advantage of the chaos? Or would you stick to the original mission, focus on getting to Tristwatch and confronting Cillian Lorne?
Tough choices, for sure.
It is. And in the end, they decide to bypass Bone Sleeper.
Really? Just leave it be.
Yeah, I think they recognize the potential danger, the uncertainty of getting involved in a necromancer turf war, and they choose to prioritize the bigger picture.
That makes sense. I mean, they know they're leaving a village under the control of a necromancer, but they also recognize that their mission to stop Cillian Lorne could have even greater implications.
Right? It's like a classic hero's dilemma. Sometimes the right decision isn't the easy one, But I think this decision shows how much they've grown as a group. They're not just reacting emotionally, they're thinking strategically, thinking about the consequences.
I agree, and it shows how D&D, through the DM and the players can explore these complex themes. It's not just about winning battles, it's about navigating difficult situations, making choices that reflect your values, even when those choices involve sacrifices.
Well said. So they leave Bone Sleeper behind, and with D-Max now leading the way, they set their sights on Trisledge. What do you think about D-Max as a leader, listener? Think his monk-like discipline, that focus, will be an asset? Or could his lack of experience be a problem?
That's a good question. On the one hand, monks are often associated with wisdom, calmness, a strong moral compass, qualities that could be really valuable in a leader, especially when you're facing dangerous and uncertain situations. But on the other hand, leadership requires more than just personal qualities. It takes decisiveness, strategic thinking. You got to be able to inspire and unite others.
It's going to be interesting to see how D-Max rises to the challenge, how his unique perspective as a monk shapes his decisions. And of course, we can't forget about Courtland. He's their guide to Tristwich, but he's also this enigmatic figure, right? Mysterious past, connected to Cillian lore. Will he be a trustworthy ally, or will his past loyalties resurface?
Courtland a wild card. I think that's what makes this whole chapter and the campaign as a whole so compelling. There are so many unknowns, so many potential twists and turns ahead. The Magnificent Seven are heading into the unknown, facing a powerful enemy, and carrying the weight of those difficult choices.
It's a reminder that even in a fantasy world, our heroes face real challenges, moral dilemmas, consequences. As we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you, listener, to think about these themes. Put yourself in the Magnificent Seven's shoes. What choices would you have made? What challenges await them in Tristwatch? How has this chapter set the stage for the epic confrontations to come? We'd love to hear your thoughts and theories. Until next time, may your dice rolls be ever in your favor.